Okay, good morning, everybody. This is Peyton with Gathering Hope, and this morning I have with me Stefani Hohman, and we are just going to do a brief interview. Stephanie attended Gathering Hope last year and this year, and so she's going to share a little bit about her daughter, Wren. She's going to share her story with us, and then we are going to hear from her what are some of the obstacles she overcame in attending Gathering Hope. So, Stephanie, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you for being here. I really appreciate you.
Yes.
So if you don't mind, would you just share just a little bit about your story? Tell us about Wren, and then after you do that, if you would tell us, I'd love to know how you found Gathering Hope too.
Okay. So I found myself pregnant in November of 2017. It was not a planned pregnancy as we were done with having 4 kids. And so, surprise, I was pregnant with number 5. Around January, we had our first ultrasound and found out we were having a little girl, and we named her Wren. And so we had our ultrasound at 14 weeks. At 15 weeks, we went to our midwife, and heartbeat was great. She sounded great. Everything was going textbook. I've never had a loss before. And then come February 14th of last year, we went in for our 19-week ultrasound, and things had been seeming kind of different. I wasn't feeling her like I was. I had been feeling her since like 12 weeks. It's kind of crazy.
And that's I did that too with all 3 of my kids. I felt them really, really early.
It was crazy. So I kind of had a feeling something was wrong, but I didn't tell anyone because I thought my anxiety and just we were starting to really get excited that we were pregnant and getting the for her. And then at 19 weeks, we found out she had passed. So that was Valentine's night on last year in February. So it was Valentine's Day will never be the same.
Absolutely not.
So she had we think she had passed sometime in the week before, going off my symptoms and everything. And I think they said she actually ended up measuring, on the ultrasound, she measured about 14 weeks. But after we had our surgery, they said probably around 17 to 18.
Okay.
Wow. So, yeah, that was really tough. And so then we decided to go ahead and get pregnant again. And we had a little girl this year.
And what's her name?
Her name is Blair.
Sorry, what?
Her name's Blair.
Blair. Oh, what a beautiful name. What a beautiful name. Thanks for sharing about Wren. And I would love to know, how did you get connected with Gathering Hope to begin with?
So last spring, summertime, I was looking around for Lost Mom events, trying to find people who really understood where I was in my grief recovery. And it was really hard talking with friends who didn't get it.
Yeah.
And I got a lot of people, okay, it's okay. So it was really nice having people who understood. So I looked for events. I joined a few Lost Mom groups.
Okay.
And then finding an event that I could actually sit and talk with people who all understood where I was is really, really what I knew I needed to help.
That's what you were looking for.
Yes.
Yeah. It really makes a difference when you're talking. It's not that the people who love us don't want to support us, but it really does seem to make a difference. And there's almost I don't know about you, but there seems to be almost an instant connection, even with someone you've just met, when they know that you are both in the same situation. Your stories are going to be different for sure. But yeah, there just seems to be a connection with strangers once they find out that you're both a lost mom. Yeah. Tell me about what we're trying to do today is we want to talk to the mom who is apprehensive about attending. She might be scared. She might be wondering what exactly she's going to experience there. And so would you share with me, did you want to come right away, or were you apprehensive about it? Tell me a little bit about that.
So as soon as I found out about the event, I signed up and was like, this is what I need. I'm going to sign up. And then as the days got closer, I was like trying to find ways to secretly get out of it, maybe schedule work, or, oh, I think the kid is sick. And my anxiety really was really high at the time. And I actually, when I got to the event, I actually circled a few times before I actually pulled in.
Yeah,
and
you're not Stephanie, you're not the first person to tell us that. We've even had table leaders say, like, before they came to their first table leader meeting, like, I drove around the block a few times and I wasn't planning on coming in.
Yeah. I definitely was feeling that.
Yeah, and so every once in a while we've had moms in the parking lot, and so that is why our greeter team is there. They're not knocking on windows, but we're just trying to be aware of people who are apprehensive and scared. So anyway, I cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I circled. I eventually did park, and it took a lot to walk in, a lot of deep breaths, and I got inside, and it was just a sigh of relief that I had made it inside. Yeah. And I got signed in, and I went and sat down, and it was like, okay. And then I kind of, looking around the room, you realize like how normal everyone is. Yeah. And you're like, wow, these people are just like me, and they don't look like they've lost a child. And you just realize that everyone, it's just, it could have happened to anyone.
Yeah.
So it was really hard to go up and light a candle. And a table leader actually came and sat next to me, and having the table leaders sitting among everyone and just saying, hey, what's your name? Have you lit a candle? Just really, that having someone talk to me and take me up there was like the best thing ever. And then I was
I'm so glad you had that experience.
Yes. And even I had that last year and this year, and it was great. It was the best. Awesome. It was the best feeling knowing that, okay, these people, they don't know this is my first year, my second year being here.
Right.
They don't care. They're just glad we're here. And so one thing I had told Facebook friends, and like when I had walked in this year, one of the greeters said, we're so glad you're here. And I was like, me too, and not that I wanted to be there for the reasons we're there, but it was so nice to have somebody, appreciate that we made it through the door and that we made it there. And, it was good. So I'm glad.
I'm so thrilled that was your experience when you came through the door. Can we backtrack a second and tell me some of the things that you were worried about, like, I'm going to schedule work, or I need to stay home with my kiddos. Like, what were some of the things that you were afraid might happen?
I was really afraid of crying in front of people. Mm-hmm. And that was one of the things that I did not want to do. And then just not knowing anyone, the anxiety of the not knowing people, the fear of the unknown. And I didn't know anyone that had been before, so I didn't know like what to expect. Like, oh my gosh, I'm going to sit at this table with strangers and have to talk to these people.
Right.
And it turned out to be just the greatest thing ever. And
Oh, good. Tell me what it was like at your table.
So at our table, we had, this year we actually had 2 table leaders. And you can share your story. You don't have to share your story. Last year, I was not one of the first ones to go. I kind of waited, and then was prepping myself the whole time. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to cry. And last year, I cried my eyes out.
Yeah.
And it was such a relief to do that, and other people crying with you, and they understood. This year, I felt so much more empowered in my story that all the moms at my table were really, their losses were a lot sooner than mine. Okay. So I felt like I was able to offer that of, you know what, I'm a year and a half out. Here's where I am in my story. So the second year was a little bit easier. I did not cry this year talking my story because I felt empowered. And I was
man, what a strong word.
Yeah, so I was able to talk to these moms who just had a loss a few months ago to less than a year ago and say, you know what, I've been there. I know it's hard and we can get through it. And then one of the speakers had talked about living with grief and joy at the same time. And
Yeah.
I could relate to that so much. And, but yeah, it was really good at the table. We really just got through everyone's story, and just being able to hear everyone's story and say our babies' names was
Yeah.
such an amazing thing for us that I loved it. So
I'm so, I don't know how to describe, I'm so honored that you would use the word empowered. Coming back for the second time this year and seeing, you know, being a little bit further out from Wren's passing. You know, I think that is one of the things that I love about Gathering Hope. We're starting to see more people who have had losses. Your loss, what I'm trying to say is your loss doesn't have to necessarily be so fresh. Both are welcome, you know, and then we're starting to see moms who have had losses from years and years and years ago. And what I love about that is because not a lot of people know that we don't have assigned seats. We just God does a great job of putting the right women together. And so the fact that you are able to minister and show like you will survive this, and you don't have to rush through anything, but you are going to make it. And to just model that for someone else at the table, that gives them hope too, you know? So I really appreciate you sharing that part of it. Let me think about anything else I want to add. Is there anything, what would you tell a mom who is like wanting to come, but worried about what to expect or worried she might cry? What would you tell her?
I would tell her it's okay to cry. Other people are crying. Other people are there to support you. They don't care how new or old your loss is.
Right.
They don't care where you are in your grieving. It's okay to come. It's okay to bring a support person. And
Absolutely, yes.
last year I felt like maybe I needed a support person.
Mm-hmm.
We had a support person with one of the moms last year at our table, and then one again this year.
Okay.
And I think that's really important for people to know that they can bring that, but it's okay to cry. And I think that a lot of people are worried that they're going to come and cry, and they probably will, and it's okay.
Probably will at some point.
Everywhere.
Because it's so normal and so needed. So I think, our speaker, Jen, she's talked about this before, but like, we just can't keep it inside, you know?
Yeah.
And the other thing is like Carol has shared, after her son passed away, she shared with me before, she had someone tell her like, you just need to move on. And she didn't cry for 6 years after that. And I'll let you know. Oh my gosh, y'all. I'm a German Shepherd, and clearly, like, somebody's coming to the door. Probably stop here just a second. Thanks for ruining the moment, Henry. Henry. All I want to say is that it's not like we're not just sitting around crying the whole time. There's worship, and there's joy that comes into the room, you know. And one of the things that I want to make sure people know is that it's not designed to be like we're just going to sit around and cry. There's power in crying together for sure. But what I hope people leave with, and you tell me your experience, but what I hope people leave is with a sense of relief and connection. Like, absolutely, knowing that I can cry with someone, or even if I don't, no one's going to judge that. Like, why aren't you crying? You know, like, no one's going to judge however that grief manifests itself at your table.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have anything else that you want to share? Otherwise, we'll wrap up.
No, you just need to attend.
Okay,
It's
awesome.
so great. It's so worth
What
it.
we're going to do is, so we have Oklahoma coming up on October 26th, and we're hoping to make sure that all the moms who have signed up know that it is going to be okay when they walk in the door. This is our first time stepping outside of the DFW area, and so we're new to Oklahoma, but thank you, Stephanie, so much for sharing your story with us
You.
and helping to hopefully calm some of the fears about some of the
Yeah,
moms later this month.
I hope so.
All right. Thank you so much, Stephanie. We'll talk to you
Thank
later.
you.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.